Hi everyone, welcome. This is episode number 38. My name is Ronsley, and today we're going to talk about a growth tactic on how to grow your team using artificial intelligence. I'm here at the beautiful VaynerMedia offices in New York City, and I have been lucky to record behind here with V Friends and Empathy Wines. But what I want to talk about is how you as a business owner can empower your team to do really superhuman things, but also how you can grow your team using artificial intelligence, how to train them, how to use it in recruitment, how to use it to grow your business when team is involved. Come, let's learn. Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to this podcast, my AI love affair. Consider this podcast your digital compass, guiding you through the labyrinth that is business growth using artificial intelligence. Running a business as a creative can sometimes be like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But what if you had a secret tool that could align all the colors for you? That is AI. It's like a master key unlocking multiple doors. Thanks for being here. Let's learn. All right, just like every other growth tactic, I will start with explaining what our outcome is for this particular growth tactic, some of the principles to think about before you start looking at the steps to implement, but also I'll talk about some mistakes to avoid. We'll talk about the steps in what sequence to execute them. Towards the end of this episode, we will break them down into some prompts that you can use to use artificial intelligence to actually execute this at speed. So the idea here is to use AI to grow your business. And when it comes to team, there are so many different elements that come into play. There's recruiting, there's onboarding your team, there's training your team, coaching your team, allowing them to manage their projects or training them to manage their projects, making them learn what a project management system looks like, how to make sure that they're not wasting their time on things, how to keep track of meetings, what is discussed in the meetings, what action items we want us to take in the meetings. These are all really relevant when it comes to team because there's so many new things that come into play when there are multiple people involved. So we want to take and use AI that is really good at memory, it's really good at accuracy, really good at speed, and we want to use that to our advantage. So let's start with some principles. The first principle I want to outline is alignment. Ensure that whatever you're using AI for and the goals are aligned with your company. So when you look back at why you created a company, what's the vision, mission, those goals and decisions are really important to align them back to your vision and mission. So ensure that when you're doing AI, they align with what you are meant to do. So if you are a company that has trust and trustworthiness high on your list of values, you want to make sure that when you're using artificial intelligence, those are aligned properly. It's easy to forget that. It's also really important to make sure that you're aligned with the brand. I think in general, one of the things that we struggle with is to make sure that we are aligned with what we decided to create in the first place. So remaining aligned with your brand is important when it comes to using any technology. Remember, technology only enhances what you put through. So remembering to make sure that the values are in play is really important. So when it comes to this and it comes to alignment, there's really some things that I wanted to think about. Make sure there's oversight, make sure there's feedback loops, and make sure there's periodic reviews on how AI is being used by your team. Really important when it comes to the alignment principle. The next principle is transparency. Use explainable AI. Don't make AI too complicated and too complex for us to understand. There are some simple ways to do that. And these techniques are what you want your team to understand. And you want them to understand that these are the factors that influence the way they use AI. So when it comes to using AI, be transparent on how you want them to use it. So you want them to start with the why, then go to the what, then go to the how, and then also they need to know what success looks like when it comes to using it. So that's the transparent way of making sure that AI is implemented correctly within your team. And the final principle, which is also super important, is continuous learning. Now, when it comes to continuous learning, we kind of think that when we start to implement AI in anything or any project, that it's a done once and forget sort of issue, and it's not the case. So we want to continuously learn and update, which means that we want to take advantage of certain really important concepts when it comes to artificial intelligence. That includes recursive input. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and find a really important episode I did on prompt stacking, because that's going to give you an idea of what recursive input looks like. So create recursive input and also create feedback loops so that you are creating follow-ups from the prompts that you have. So you have a prompt and you create a follow-up so that you can get recursion in what you're creating, but you want to be able to have continuous learning within asking your team to use artificial intelligence. Okay, now, the biggest mistake that I want us to avoid is to make artificial intelligence the be-all and end-all, making sure that it is reliant only on AI. What if AI is not around? What if there's no internet? You want to be able to have people that can execute without artificial intelligence and make sure that you're only using it as a tool as opposed to fully delegating entire responsibility to artificial intelligence, at least not yet. Okay, until you know exactly what you're after, you want to be able to make sure that you're doing it in the right way. So what are the steps to execute this? The first step is to assess the current workflows, then is to source the tools to be able to do it, and then finally is to be able to train your team to make sure that they do it correctly. Let's start with the first one. How do we assess workflows? The first thing to do is look at what is currently being done. Now, in this growth tactic and in the next one, I'm going to focus you on making sure that you capture what is currently being done as opposed to reinventing a workflow. Really important. No need to reinvent workflows because they're super hard if it is not easy to execute. So what is currently being done in your team is the first thing. So assess what they are right now. And then I'd love for you to assess what the priorities are when it comes to these things. When it comes to those workflows, what is the priority of that workflow? Is it just to execute every step? But what is the point of executing every step? What is the outcome? What does success look like? What are the tasks to achieve that success? And then I'd love for you to highlight the tasks that could be done with AI. Okay, that's the first thing. So you currently, whatever it is that you have in your business when it comes to recruiting, coaching, onboarding, training, project management, meetings, whatever those things are, that when it comes to team, highlight those workflows, start with that, and then start to list the tasks. When you list the tasks, then highlight the ones that you can use AI, okay, and the ones that you want to use AI on. That's the first step. The second step is to source some tools. Don't build the tools, please. Just source them, because there are lots of tools that can do some really cool stuff already, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can find tools that are specific to your needs, and it's important. And also know that not all tools do the same thing. So just one tool fits all is not an idea that always works. Sometimes it does, but most of the times you're going to look for the tools that work specifically for the right workflow, the right outcome, because you don't want to hamper getting the job done. You don't want to make it a long-winded way to actually get the work done. So the tools should make sure that it is easy to use and it is not necessarily easy to kind of pick these. It's only important for you to pick them based on the workflow that you identified before. So then don't just go out and see what other people are using and use that. Use it first from your workflow, highlight what could be used as an AI tool and a task, and then source the tools from there. And then finally, once you've done that, you then train your team. Optimize this to be able to train your team easily, because the easier they are to train, the easier they can train others. Give context, which is really important. Be transparent with the context. Give them the why, what, how, and what success looks like, because that is going to make them take responsibility and own the use of how it all is going to go down. And then finally, review, feedback, and improve. So make sure you have a review process in there. Make sure that you have some feedback coming in on how it's working, and make sure you also have a way to improve the process when it is not working well. Okay, let's get into some prompts. Here are some of the things that you can do using artificial intelligence, and let's start with the first one. Okay, give me an example of an AI tool that does X. For you to do this, there are different ways that you can do that. You can go into ChatGPT or into Claude, Anthropic, and Bard or Google Bing and put that in, and it'll give you a list of examples that could help you understand what AI tool will be able to help you do a certain set of tasks. But you can also go into ChatGPT and enable two plugins, the Metaphor plugin and the Web Pilot plugin. That allows you to search the web in a very concise manner so that you're finding all the relevant information when it comes to certain topics. So Metaphor and Web Pilot is what you enable, and then you ask it this particular question. Give me an example of an AI tool that does X, Y, or Z. That's the first one. The second one is, okay, now identify the tasks that are involved to complete this. So say, for example, you want to talk about recruitment, or you want to talk about training, or you want to talk about how to have an onboarding sequence. So say, identify the tasks that are involved to complete an onboarding sequence for a coaching business when we are employing a new business coach, is an example. So this part needs to be contextual so that you're identifying the task, or you're asking AI to identify the tasks that actually serve the context that you're trying to identify. Okay, so really important to give more context. And then finally, the third one is you actually asking it, what ChatGPT prompts can you help my team member with when they are trying to do this? So whether it is putting out new content, it is recording content, or it is writing an email, responding to leads, what you already have with intelligence to ask intelligent questions. And you can also go at inception deeper and say, what questions should I ask you for you to be most helpful in this current scenario? There's some really cool things that you can do with artificial intelligence. And I'm hoping that with every episode you watch of my AI Love Affair, you realize this power in what you have at your fingertips, especially as a creative business entrepreneur. I am helping you with each growth tactic understand all these different elements when it comes to business. This is one way of looking at team and how to use artificial intelligence in these particular steps to grow your team. I have another way to look at team, which is also very important, but I'll cover that in another growth tactic. In the meantime, check all the growth tactics, use them when required. If you're looking for a landing page, there's one specifically for that. Looking for a nurture sequence, how to attract, how to create a podcast. All these growth tactics are very specific. If you want to use AI in them, go watch them. Watch previous episodes, see how businesses are using it. What's the case study? What's the growth tactic? What's the tech stacks? And join us in the Discord community. We want to have you there. We want to see you there. And if you're new to artificial intelligence and you don't know where to start, go to aigeeks.co/level1, and you'll get a bunch of free concepts and prompts that will help you understand how to use AI and where to use AI and how to get started. Until next time, much love.
Hey, AI Geek. Thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI Geeks by going to aigeeks.co/Discord. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI Geek. Until then, much love.